Hello, friends. I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. Today is part 3 of my shelfie review show off of shelves. Check out the first two parts if you haven't already. The first one, I'll give you a little bit more explanation about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and then today I show off the last of my shelves, the one you've seen the most often, so you've probably seen them changing from video to video as the months roll on. But these shelves are also going to be my heaviest games, and a lot of them are more my favorite games. If you've checked out my top 50 favorite games of all time, you'll see many of these were on that list. So I'll just go ahead and get started and wrap up this little series I've done over the last week or so, and then move on to some other things. I hope you've enjoyed these and enjoy coming back and seeing more. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let's roll. I'm all out of sorts here. But anyway, let's start the same way I've started before. At the top of the shelf, you will see some of my big box games, starting with Foundations of Rome. And then the Everdell Complete Collection. That's actually just the cover because I've got it set up on the table over there so I can play it a little bit and not have to take apart the tree and stuff. But that's where it's going to reside when it is in the box. Next to that, I got Wingspan and the big box of Quacks of Quedlinburg. And then next to that, I've got some paints set up with some of the little postcard art from various games. And then I've got some other junk kind of on the very corner there next to the window. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the actual shelves now. First off, these two shelves, I'll go ahead and lump them together because they're one of the first things I organized back when my collection only was like 20 or 30 games. I had all my Stonemaier games together on one cube, and now they've expanded into two. So that is 8 right now, different Stonemaier games, not counting the Wingspan big box on top. And Libertalia, Winds of Gale Crest, is a game I really enjoy. Plays great 1-2-6. It's one of the few games that plays well at all the counts, but it also plays kind of different. It gets way more wackier, the higher player count, and a way more tight game. And you're talking 1, 2, and 3 players when you're able to better predict the movements from turn to turn. Red Rising is a game I really enjoy solo and not so much in the larger group setting, although it does also play 1-6. It just really bogs down when everybody's got to read every card every time one of them's played. But it's got a great solo play that I really enjoy playing. Tapestry, I've enjoyed. It's basically a tracks game where you're getting resources to advance further and further up the civilization tracks. Whether you're doing war or industry and science or whatever the case is. So one, I want to get to the table more often for sure. I haven't played it a whole lot, but I enjoyed the plays I've had. Between Two Cities Essential Edition, I just got that one pretty recently. It just came out with the Essential Edition. I hadn't had Between Two Cities, and I haven't had a chance to play that in a group. It's got an okay solo mode. I definitely want to get this out when I've got 3 to 7 people. Euphoria, Build It Better Dystopia is the newest Stonemaier game in my collection. I just played this one last month. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to playing again. I'm going to say that a lot probably. But that was another fun game. Charterstone I've had for quite a while. I got it right when it first came out and played through probably about half a campaign, and then I lost a lot of the people who were playing the campaign with me. I know it's got a recharge pack I might get sometime. If it seems like I'll get, a few to 6 other people to go through that again. It's a neat little worker placement campaign style game that I enjoyed, and I haven't been able to touch in a long time because our group kind of fell apart. Next to that is Viticulture Essential Edition. I've got, I think, pretty much every expansion that's been made in there. Extra cards. It's, what am I thinking of? The Tuscany expansion, just all the essential normal viticulture stuff. Next to that is Viticulture World, the cooperative game. I got that because I like viticulture so much. If you've seen my top 50, you know that's in my top 5. And I've played through the cooperative one a little bit solo. I don't really care for it solo, so I need to teach more people the regular viticulture so that way we can better play cooperative in a real group. All right, I'll move over here. You see here is my my Gorilla shelf. It's kind of what I've got there for now until I need the cube. I've just got some decorative gorillas because I've always been a big fan of gorillas, and so that's just a display I have to break up the monotony of other board games. Moving down, right now this is a music shelf because I just kind of stuck those two together for lack of wanting to put them elsewhere. Lacrimosa, a game I really enjoyed. I put a review of that together last year. It was one of my favorite new plays from last year, and I do need to play it again because it's kind of fading a little bit. It's got a decent solo mode as well. Come Together, interesting take on the worker placement. I think it plays pretty good at 3 and 4. I think it goes to 6? Yeah, 6. I wouldn't play it at 5 or 6 with the way it is. And Luke from the Broken Meeple pointed out that in his review as well. So if you want to check out the Broken Meeple's review, I pretty much share all the thoughts Luke mentioned in that video about Come Together. It's a fun game, but I wouldn't play it past 4. All right, moving over to here. This is what I've always kind of considered my cube of favorites. I got a lot of favorites in there. I've had some rotating things kind of up top. Right now I've got Lost Ruins of Arnak. I really enjoy that game. I wouldn't mind playing Dune Imperium. I believe it's pretty similar. And we'll get down to the bottom and talk about another game in the similar style of worker placement and card placement and do all the other things type of game. Lost Ruins of Arnak. I really enjoy that one. It's kind of an Indiana Jones style game. Next here, left to right, we got Ark Nova, one of my favorites for sure. 100% played that a lot last year, and I still look forward to playing it again. And it's just so long that it's hard to table, but I will play it at any time with anybody. So come tell me you want to play it, and I'll play it. Russian Railroads, one I tracked down. It took a while for me to track down. I mentioned before it was on my Grail list. I got a hold of it, and now Ultimate Railroads is out there and relatively easy to get a hold of. But for now, I'm content with Russian Railroads, and it's one of my favorite worker placements. A very tight game there. Next up, Clans of Caledonia. Great economic game and placing things on the map to generate resources for your economy and generate points. I really like that one. It's got an expansion in the works that I'm excited for. It should be crowdfunding sometime later this year. So if you're interested in Clans of Caledonia and the expansion, check out Kickstarter, I believe, here in the next few months. Should be something. And the last two, Terra Mystica and the solo box. I've only played with the solo box. Terra Mystica is one I want to get out to the table more for sure because I've only played it a couple times with the solo box because I just feel like it's a little more complex than what a lot of my game mates play typically. Moving down, kind of called this my French cities shelf. Ignore the one in the middle there for now. But Troyes is a game I just recently got. It's a city in France. A worker placement or dice drafting kind of placement game with meeples that dictate where you can use your dice to generate the things you need to do. It's a classic game. I really enjoyed it. I just got that one pretty recently, but we enjoyed it, the couple of plays we had of it. In the middle, Altiplano, because it's the sister to Orleans, which is the one next to it. 2 bag builders, 2 I really enjoy, both of them inside of my top 15. I really enjoy bag builders and deck builders, so those are there. I've got space reserved for Le Havre to squeeze in as well if I can ever find that one. I think it's coming back to reprint this year, I believe, if I've heard rumors correctly. So that's probably a game that'll fit in there with the rest of my French games. Eventually I might have to kick Altiplano out, but right now it's kind of Orleans 2.0, so it's in the French cities little cube. All right, I'm going to wheel out of the way a little bit more maybe, or switch sides, I guess. I'll just switch sides. All right, I'll come over here, switch sides, and going to this shelf. Hopefully you can see it all right. It's my Stefan Feld Cities collection. I went in on the second run. So when 3 and 4 were hit Kickstarter, I got all 4 of them, and I just back Cities 5 and 6. Although I don't know much about them, so I'm kind of blind backing on those. But I've really enjoyed the ones I've played here. Hamburg, one of my favorites. If you haven't seen my favorite plays from last year's list or my top 50, it's very high on both. I skipped over Alhambra. It's a game I've had forever. It's a queen game, so right now this is a queen shelf, but Alhambra is going to have to mosey on out when more cities fill up to complete the skyline look that I've got going on. But Alhambra's another good one. I need to table more. It's been quite a while. Amsterdam is the one I haven't played yet, so looking forward to that. Read the rules, seems worker or pick up and deliver esque, so I want to get into that one, try it out. I don't have many pick up and deliver games. New York City is the one I've got on display, kind of reminding me of the United States. My plan is to kind of rotate which city I've got on display, so maybe I'll rotate those here after I'm done filming. Actually, New York's been on display for quite a while. And New York City is an area control game where you're also manipulating cards you've drafted, and you've got 6 or 7 phases where you're trying to either manipulate the city or manipulate things that you can use later in the game. It was alright. I didn't like it as much as the other two, those being Hamburg and the final one, Marrakesh, is the only new game. The rest of these were reprints or retweakings of older Feld games. Marrakesh, I enjoyed. I'd want to play it again. I'm just concerned that there might be 1 or 2 strategies that are better than the other 10 ways. I think there's like 10 or 11 ways to score in that game, and I think 2 of them might be a little overpowered. That's my concern. And then the coins is the last little sliver there. All right, over here on the left, this shelf is kind of just card games. One of my favorites, Race for the Galaxy, with all the expansion 1, as I knock them all backwards here, making a mess. I should just stop touching things. But I really enjoy that. It's got the solo game in there, and like I said, the first 3 expansions all boxed together in there. Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition. I can't wait. I've got the new expansions on the way there because I really like that one, and it's got a better solo mode. Again, looking for the solo mode and a co-op mode, so maybe it'll be a little bit more friendly to introduce to the group as well when that comes in. Amun-Re the card game. I have not played that one yet, but it should play pretty quick and easy if we get to the table. A small box card game should be easy to take about. I just haven't had the chance yet. And then the bottom 2 are my legendary Marvel deck building adventure. One of the first games I got when I decided I was going to start collecting for, playing with others that I work with and that I, live around the personnel over the seas that I spend some time with, because I'm not a big Marvel fan, but I know a lot of people are. So I got those. This is all the heroes, to include all the expansions and stuff I have, and these are going to be all the villain cards, and the bad things cards are all in that little box. And then squeezed in here is The Crew, Quest for Planet 9. Very good trick-taking game, cooperative trick-taking, and I really enjoy that. Pretty hot game. And then next to it, on top, we got Autobahn, a game I checked out a little bit with the solo mode. I didn't play it right, I didn't understand the rules, and I haven't touched it since. But if I find somebody willing to put forth the effort with a little bit of a heavier game, I definitely want to dig into playing this with real people. Below that, Pandemic Legacy Season 0. We're almost done with that, so that box is going to go away soon. But I really have enjoyed all the Pandemic Legacy games, and Season 0 has been a blast. Below that, Concordia. I really like Concordia. If you haven't checked out my top 50, you'll see it's very high on that list. On the left-hand side are literally all my extra Concordia map boards that don't fit in the box. Below that, Lords of Waterdeep, a nice introductory level worker placement game that I really enjoy. And yeah, I like that one. Below that is Fast Sloths. I got that because sloths are cool, and I heard the game was decent, and it was a pick up and deliver, which, like I mentioned before, I didn't really have many of them. That's the only one I believe I played ever of a pick up and deliver, or at least as the full mechanism. I don't know. Whatever. Fast Sloths. It's cute. It's kind of fun, but I wouldn't play it below 4. With 2 players, we did play with 2 players, and it just got kind of predictable. Like, we pretty much just avoided each other, so it didn't matter what we did. But when we played this with 4, the board was crazy, and you could never predict what you were going to end up doing on your next turn because you didn't know where the animals were going to be. And that's the top 2 sections. So I will take a pause here and get ready to set up on the floor for the final 10 little cubbies we have left. So I'll just see you in just a moment. All right, and we're back, and I'm on the ground again for the last time, hopefully for one of these videos. Anyway, continuing on, kind of where we left off on the L here, and I'm gonna inch my way over. Over here, we've got my Champions of Midgard collection and Reavers of Midgard. I backed all those on Kickstarter back in the day when they came out, and I've enjoyed Champions of Midgard so much that I backed Reavers of Midgard. They're 2 different styles of game. Champions of Midgard is going to be a worker placement game where you're rolling dice that are your Vikings, and then you're trying to win battles and score points and whatever. Reavers of Midgard, again, have the dice and Viking theme, but that's about it. It's actually the dice worker placement, and then you're generating resources and doing things with those. I like both games. I like Champions of Midgard a bit more, but Reavers of Midgard isn't bad either. So depending on whether you want to kind of chuck dice and worker place and test your luck fighting things, go Champions of Midgard. If you want to do a more Euro style worker dice placement, then Reavers of Midgard is where you're going to want to look. Below that, I've got my box of Dinosaur Island. It's got all the expansion stuff in it, and another game I got early on in my gaming career, and I upgraded it with a nice box and all the wooden components and everything in there as well. I like Dinosaur Island. We haven't played a whole lot. It is a bit complex for a lot of the group, but the theme works pretty good because it's basically Jurassic Park in a box, so that gets people into it. It's another one I really enjoy. Next to that, I've got my shelf of mostly unplayed games, a bunch of Euro beige games that I haven't really touched. I've touched Stroganoff solo once. Otherwise, Maestro I haven't touched. Porta Nigra haven't touched. Been to the actual Porta Nigra 3 or 4 times since I've been in Germany. It's about an hour, not even that far away, maybe, from where I am. So that's kind of why I got that one. It's just kind of a souvenir game, but I hear it's a pretty good game. I haven't actually checked it out yet. And then next to that is a game still in cellophane, Notre Dame, another Stefan Feld game that I haven't been able to check out yet. Haven't even uncellophaned it yet, which is weird because usually I do that right when I get them. But for this one, I just kind of slid it in. I think it came in the same time I had like 4 or 5 other games that I just got to first. So I'll probably break into that one here real soon. Just haven't yet. Down in that corner is my solo corner for the most part. I got Under Falling Skies. I really like that one. I've been playing through the campaign there now. But yeah, that's what Meteoroid, I think, is the kind of the game it's based off of. Planet Flipper is a good little solo game. I did a review of that one last year when it first came out. I think there's an expansion in the works, if I remember correctly, from Daryl who created it. And then the old favorite, Freedom and Freeze's Friday, where it's a tough little card game where you're trying to survive as Friday on the island and, slowly get better and better through 3 seasons and then try to get yourself off the island. Then I've got a box of Button Shy and a bag of Button Shy, bunch of Button Shy, whole Button Shy collection up in there. And then next to that, I've got these Spielbox magazines kind of shoved in to those spots as well. I'll just leave that there, whatever. And then over here, I've got Small World and Small World Warcraft. I like those. I could have put them over with my Days of Wonder games. I've been moving them back and forth. I haven't really decided what I actually want to do with them. But I've got the nice insert for Small World, so I've been trying to keep that more horizontal. But if you've noticed my shelves, for the most part, I like the vertical display way more than the horizontal display. At one point, everything in here was horizontal, but that's obviously gone away, so that bugs me a little bit to have some things horizontal and some things vertical. And then under the 2 of those is Ankh, the Gods of Egypt game that I played once or twice. It's basically a chess-ish game. I only played it 2 players, but it plays 3 or 4 as well. And I could see playing it, but it's not up my alley a whole lot, but it's good enough. All right, up here, I've got a light blue cube. This is basically what that is. I don't have a whole lot of theme. Eventually, it'll probably be all Garphill. But I got Raiders of the North Sea and Architects of the West Kingdom taking up part of it. And when I get more Garphill games, it'll probably be all Garphill, and we'll kick Endless Winter somewhere else. But Endless Winter is also a light blue game, similar-ish theme. Endless Winter is, I think, more older history than like the Viking game of Raiders or the Builders of the West Kingdom and Architects, but similar enough that they're shelved together for now. Next to that, I've got just Distilled right there, a brand new game I just got from Kickstarter, kind of in its own little shelf. I could forward face it probably to make this shelf or this cube not look as empty, but whatever. This is how it is for now. I've got more things on the way, so these gaps are going to get filled in before long. And then the next shelf over, I've got what used to be Aporta games by themselves, and then I threw La Familia. I just got this one. It's a Mafia game for only 4 players. I hope to get that played this weekend if I can, but I don't know. It's hard for me to get 4 players together, much less to learn a new game, but we'll see. I hope to. And otherwise, look forward to trying that one out. Bad Company is kind of Mafia-esque, which is why I put La Familia in there with those. I got that one from Matago, but it's a Porta game as well. It's neat. I like Space Base better for the theme of everybody takes turns rolling the dice and you get something on other people's turns, but you get more on your own turn, and you're just trying to build up your engine. But this one's got more resources to manage than Space Base. Space Base is more engine management, I think. Santa Maria, a game I really enjoy as well. Dice drafting and manipulation to generate resources to buy things to get points. That's a theme of a lot of games. It's a very common explanation. And then next to that is The Magnificent, which is a surprise for me how much I like the game. The box is okay. The art, I guess. It's got the black and the bright colors. The game has that same style. It's a little darker than I might want, but it's okay. It's a circus game where it's got a little bit of card drafting, resource management, and tile laying going on. But I really like that one more than I expected originally, and so I'm happy to have it in my collection. I bought it because it was a really, really, really good deal at the time, but I'm so glad. I think I probably got the most value out of that game than pretty much everything else in this sector. Next up, Hamlet. I got the Kickstarter Founders Edition. I've got some problems with the cathedral, like being wobbly, and the small print on all the things. I want to play it again a couple times to see if I really don't like it. It's probably going to be on my to-move shelf pretty soon, but I do want to give it one more try. I've only played it solo, so I'm going to see how it plays with actual people. Next to that is Abyss. It's a card game where you're trying to collect points by getting the right cards to get the buildings. Well, they're not buildings, but the kingdoms, and you're using helpers along the way, and it's neat. I like the art. I've been impressed by the art on the box for a long time, so it's always one of those I want to check it out at some point. And I got it recently, and I've enjoyed it well enough. Next to that are 2 of these NSKN games that I got for a good deal. I've only played Progress, The Evolution of Technology, a couple times solo. It's a little bit of a tableau builder card. You know, you're paying for the cards, but also if you have the right cards in place, you don't have to pay for the cards. And you're just trying to get your technology built out through the course of some ages and build the better technology by the end of the game than your opponents. Dragon's Gate College is kind of like Hogwarts School of Wizardies. You're different kind of wizards and building things up, and that's all I know about it. I've only read the rules. I haven't played it yet. That one doesn't have a solo mode. Otherwise, I would have tried it by now. All right, this shelf down here, ignoring the one on the left and the one in the middle, is Roll and Rights. So it's kind of where I've got my Roll and Rights. I've got Discordia kind of squeezed in there because it fit nicely with the rest of them. I really like Discordia. I've done a review of that one if you want to check it out. Joan of Arc, the Orleans, Roll and Rights. Could be up there next to Orleans, but I put it down here with my Roll and Rights for now. It's drawn right. I haven't had a chance to play that one yet. I just got that one last week. Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. I enjoy that one enough for what it is, but it's probably my least favorite of the roll and writes that I own. But it's still fun, and my buddy enjoyed it too. Rumble Nation, a surprise game that I really liked. It's an area control game with a little bit of a twist as the game plays out. It plays out kind of in two parts. The first part is you're putting your piece on the board, and the second part is you're using what's on the board to get more things on the board. And I really like that one. I would call that a real good sleeper hit. One of my favorites for my top 50 as well. Next to that, Welcome to the Moon, I think is my favorite of the roll and writes, or flip and write in this case. I really like that one. I need to dig into it. It's been a while since I touched it, and I want to get into the campaign as well and get back on that one. And then next to that is Rolling Realms, another Stonemaier game, the one that's floated away from the rest of the Stonemaier games. I've got a bunch of realms for it. There's more released all the time, and it's got a lot of variety. But it's a game I'll probably only ever play solo, because it's just a lot to teach for what you get out of it. I like it, but I don't know that I want to try to introduce it again, because I like it enough solo anyway. And then the final shelf as we close out this series of videos is what I call my two-player shelf. First I got Star Wars Rebellion, a Star Wars game for 2 players only. I might play 4, but I wouldn't. I just play it one-on-one. I haven't played that one much because it's so long and complex. It's not super complex, but it takes a while, and it's basically the Rebels versus the Empire, and you're really playing out Star Wars if you like Star Wars like I do. And you got 2 players. I'd recommend that one for sure. I really like Star Wars Rebellion. Next to that, Baseball Highlights 2045. Again, another game that I guess plays technically to 4, but I would only play that with 2. I played it solo a couple times, and I like it. It's a little bit of a card drafting, and then you're pitting your cards against your opponent back and forth in a baseball-esque style. I've enjoyed that one. I want to play that one some more as well. But I mentioned before, I have a hard time getting 2-player games to the table. That's why these are shoved off kind of in the bottom corner here instead of somewhere more easily accessible. Santorini, I really like this one. My daughter really likes this one. I think that's my most played 2-player game for that reason. It's quick, it's easy, it's fun, and yeah, it's a good game. It also technically plays 3 and 4, but 2-player game. And then finally, Beer and Bread is my newest one. Just got that one a week or 2 ago. I've only played it the once, but it's a good game. Good little back and forth manipulation of resources and cards with triple use cards even. And so I can't wait to play that one again as well. So there you have it. That's all my shelves, and I'm not trying to do this as a brag and look at what I got or anything like that. I just did this because of requests of people who say they like looking at people's shelfies. And so I figured I'd do some shelfie video and a little bit of a brief walkthrough of my collection and what I like in it and what I might get rid of sooner than later. That if you check me out on BGG or the Board Game Nexus or somewhere, I'm probably going to be having some of these available for sale or trade in the very near future. Otherwise, I just, it's a good chance to show off a little bit of what I've gotten in the hobby in the last 4 or 5 years that I've been kind of collecting games, and some things you might see on my table in future reviews. So if you've got any requests from what you've seen that I own that I haven't done a review for, let me know, and I will put that higher up if people are expressing interest in seeing said content. Otherwise, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. I think I mentioned that earlier today, and come back again next week or before next week, depending on when I put out videos, and look at something different than me crawling around on the floor pointing out games on my shelf. So we'll see what I have in store, and we'll see you next time.